What's up, everyone? It is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we're gonna rank all my Ace Beauty palettes. So I don't have that many Ace Beauty palettes, so this shouldn't take that long, but I've been thoroughly enjoying the brand this year, and I figured you might be interested to see what my favorites are and what reason as to why they are my favorites. So without further ado, girl, let's get into it. Because honey, I'm tired. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have not been to bed since 12 a.m. yesterday. So yeah, it's a lot. Anyway, so number 8 is the Slice of Paradise. This is a newly formulated one. I had the original one. I wasn't crazy about the formula. A lot of us here in the beauty community were saying we weren't crazy about the formula, so they reformulated it and made it even better than before. But this one's at the bottom for me just because I own so many rainbow palettes, and this is a rainbow palette I don't really reach for. But I do love all the color stories that Ace Beauty comes out with. So I'm happy to have this in my collection. That's why I keep holding on to it, because it's one of their very first, and they updated the formula on it, which makes it a million times better than it originally was. And I love the color story. It's just, it's not a color story I reach for that often because I have so many rainbow palettes, because I literally did a video of ranking all my rainbow palettes because I have that many. I think I had like 5 or 6 or 7 in that. So it's like, this one doesn't get that much love. I do leave it here at my grandmother's house though, so I can have a rainbow palette when I do want to play with a rainbow palette. But I also have my favorite of all time here that I started off with, which is the Colored Rain Vivid Pigments and Shadows palette. So again, I just don't reach for this as much. It has nothing to do with the quality of it, because the quality on the new ones is amazing. So if you're getting a new one, make sure it's going to be this thick one right here. The thin ones are the original ones. I prefer the new ones, and that's the one I would recommend. So this is number 8, just because you gotta think about how much colorful makeup I have and how many rainbow palettes I have in my collection. Now, number 7 is the Flare palette. This is another palette I absolutely loved the color story of, but didn't love the formula of. Again, as you can see, it is the thick packaging. It's not thin. This is what the color story looks like on the inside. It looks really similar to a lot of other palettes that are in my collection, and I don't really reach for this color story that often because it's just like greens, and you got some oranges and some more plumish and reddish type shades. Those aren't really my shades that much. I would prefer this and maybe like a purple. Y'all know how I am. I like my blues and I like my greens and my purple. So if it's like this was all blue roll and then this is all green roll and this is all purple roll, I'd be more in tune to it. But I do really like the color story of this, and I did really like the look I created with this. It's just more of, since I'm on a more blue, green, and purple train and everybody's coming out with blue, green, and purple palettes, this is something I wouldn't reach for as much. And so that's why it is number 7. Number 6 is the Ambiance palette. I've only used this palette, I think, once. Yeah, I've used this palette once, maybe twice. But it is a great alternative if you were like me and love the Good Sport palette from ColourPop. Since they don't make that one anymore, and they're getting up there in age because they made that a while ago and then never brought it back out again. So this would be a good alternative for you. So that's why I put it higher up than the other ones, because I love the Good Sport palette and I've definitely reached for it more. It's just because I got it during Black Friday, I haven't reached for it as much. So I will definitely reach for this more, and I liked the formula of it, and the shimmers and the mattes were just chef's kiss wonderful. And along with it being like the Good Sport ColourPop palette, I definitely had to rank it higher than the other ones, but I'll be more likely to reach for it. However, the other color stories you'll see are just more of my color aesthetic and what I use on a more regular basis. So I had to be realistic with myself when it came to ranking these. So we did 8, 7, 6, so we're on number 5. So number 5 is the Tropical Vibes palette. Now y'all know mine is being beat up and abused. Y'all say y'all don't have Ace Beauty shadows breaking. Well, as you can see, mine always breaking, because like this green is completely almost shattered and gone. This green started breaking on me. I don't know what it is like with this particular palette, but it's like it's steadily, constantly, always breaking on me, and it arrives broken. So I'm just kind of over here like when it comes to this one. But the color story is gorgeous. I would definitely reach for this one a little more than the Ambiance palette, just because y'all know I love me a green, blue, and purple moment, and this being an all green palette with like this gorgeous blue shade and some of these warmer shades when I do feel the need to use a warm shade, because I don't mind using warms when I have a good variety of greens to go with them. Like I wouldn't mind putting this on the outer V and then use some of these lighter greens and maybe this like emeraldish greenish blue shimmer in the corner, do something nice like that. So I definitely see myself reaching for this more than some of the other things. Not necessarily more than the Ambiance, but I still have to get used to the Ambiance formula. I have used the Tropical Vibes at least 3 or 4 times, whereas the Ambiance one I used it once, maybe twice. So I'm still trying to get a feel for it. That's why it was also put lower down, because like I want to be more comfortable and used to the formula, because sometimes I want to do a fun, colorful look, but I still need to rush out the door. So I know that one will be good for that. Okay. So next I have the Oceanic palette from Ace Beauty. Now if you know anything about me, then you know why this one is number 4, because look at it, honey, it's gorgeous. It is a blue lover's dream, a blue green and purple lover's dream, and I just said that those are my types of palettes. So this one of course was going to be higher up, plus it has nice variations of blues and greens that I feel like make lovely color combinations. Like if you want to do an all matte look, I could easily see myself like putting this on the front of the eye, putting this toward the back of the eye, and then making this my pop of inner corner if I just want to do like a nice matte look. Then it has a nice dark set of dark grungy colors here and nice shimmer to matte ratio in this palette, because they normally do a lot of mattes and not that many shimmers. So I like the fact there's at least 6 shimmers in here, and they're not like all deep shimmers. There are some lighter ones and some deeper ones. So I think they did a great combination with this. Again, it's still the new packaging. I only have the new packaging ones because those are the formats that I prefer. Okay, so what was that? Oh, so this is number 3. So number 3 is the Ace Beaute Envy palette. Again, to me this is just a fun grungier extension of the Oceanic palette. It's a gorgeous palette. This color story is amazing. I like the fact that they gave you like this nice little grungy section for if you wanted to do a warm tone one, but you still have a lot of these blues, greens, and a bluish purple shade. So I feel like this is a good like miniature version of the Oceanic palette. If you didn't necessarily want the Oceanic palette, you wanted a smaller, more condensed version of it, I feel like this is a good opportunity to get that. And I love the color story in this, so that's why it got ranked a little bit higher. It's just a more condensed version, and I haven't had either one of those break on me either, so that's another reason it got ranked higher up. Not that the Oceanic broke on me, but since the Tropical Vibes broke on me and it has some of the tones in that, I think that's another reason it got ranked a little bit higher up, because it's like they haven't broken and it has some of the shades in there along with some of the shades in Oceanic, so it was a perfect little miniature version of 2 of those palettes for me. So number 2 is the Aura palette. I know, right? A warm tonish palette got ranked higher up, but I love the purples in here and this like wine shade, and then the cool like neutral type like greenish mustard type tones that's in this palette. I think they're a wonderful combination. I didn't expect to like this one as much as I did. Y'all know I was thinking I was gonna love the Envy palette, but then I put this one on and I was like, oh. So now I was like, okay, this palette speaks to me more than I expected it to. And I love the shade Halo right here. Oh my goodness, it's like this gold, I guess lavenderish, dirty purple type shade. It just looks so stunning. I used it on the lid in the first video I did, and I think in the second video I used it in the inner corner or something, because it's just such a gorgeous shade. Whenever I reach for this palette, I always want to use it. And I always want to use the shade Gleam too. It has like lots of sparkle to it, and it's more of like a fuchsia-ish purple type shimmer. I feel like there's just 2 gorgeous shimmers in here that I just always want to reach for when I use this palette. So this palette is gorgeous and amazing, and I love it dearly. So that means number 1 is Paletopoly. This is my most used Ace Beaute palette, so of course it was going to have to go at the top. I love the color story of this palette. I think it's so fun. You have your blues, you have your grungy greens, you have your purples, then you have some like fun pinks to go along, and you have a little row of neutrals. But I feel like the row of neutrals goes nicely with the greens yellow section. I would pair both those together most likely. I wouldn't most likely pair with anything else in here, because I would prefer to use like the purples and the pinks together, or the blue and the purple together, or the purple or the blue and the pink together. So I would like to use those in combinations instead and just kind of stick to these 2 rows being together. But I have done at least 3 to 4 looks with this palette. I think I did 2 on camera with you all, and then I did like 1 more on Instagram, and then 1 more just in everyday life, just because I really like this palette. So the fact that I used this palette 4 times this year, I'm sorry, like last year in 2022, I feel like it's a huge deal, because y'all know I reviewed so many palettes. If you saw my favorite palettes of 2021, I'm sorry, of 2022, then y'all know that video was like an hour long. So the fact that I still took time to use that palette so many times shows you how much I really liked it. So those are my Ace Beaute palettes, and that's how I had to rank them. You can comment down below and tell me what you think. Do you have any of these palettes, and do you agree with my ranking, or do you see it differently? But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are dimes. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.